Welcome to the very first episode of the Opinionated thoughtbotter. My name is Svenja Schäfer. I'm a developer and team lead here at thoughtbot. With me is Sami Birnbaum. He will introduce himself in just a bit. In the Opinionated thoughtbotter, I will chat with one of my fellow thoughtbotters about one of their opinions, and it will take more or less 30 minutes. And before we will reveal Sami's opinion for today, can you introduce yourself? Say a few words about you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Svenja, for having me on this journey. So I'm Sami Birnbaum. I'm a senior developer at thoughtbot. Svenja is actually my team lead, so I've got
Yes,
to
I
be
am.
careful what I say. I can have opinions, but they can't be too strong. And yeah, no, I'm really interested in this kind of series that you're doing. And let's see where we get to. I'm intrigued.
Well, I was intrigued when I heard your opinion. So let's share it. It is AI does more harm than good, which is, to be fair, a little bit generic. So I want to start with a question. Can you think of areas in which AI causes more harm than good? So can you give some examples?
Sure. Look, it is quite generic. It's also it's a bit of a sweeping statement. So it's an opinion which you can find holes in, and there will be arguments in both directions. And so when I have this opinion, it's not me saying that it's not a binary thing, right? It's not like either it does more harm than good or it does more good than harm. It very much depends. But at least having this opinion, I think, will allow us to highlight areas where we need to be cautious. Um, when utilizing AI. So that said, when talking about AI as well, because that itself probably needs a definition, is more about generative AI and the AI that we've seen in kind of like the past 2 years since ChatGPT um, really got going. It's kind of that form of AI. And then you ask for examples of where it does more harm than good. Um, Do you want me to come at this from a perspective of well, there's two perspectives I think I have, or two opinions. There's one like society as a whole, and then there's also within the world or the industry of development where AI is doing a lot. Um, do you have a preference on which one of
W-
those?
We can talk about both, but yeah, maybe let's go to the coding perspective.
Okay. The coding perspective, and I recently wrote a blog which highlights some of this stuff. So I'm going to plug my own blog, which is if you go to Thoughtbot's blog and you either look for my name or you look at if you Google AI led or human led development, you'll see some of the opinions kind of on there. But when it comes to development, there is a potential where it starts to do more harm than good. And the way it does more harm than good is if you completely rely on AI, or let's call it vibe coding, which people have done. What I've found when building projects in this way, with pretty much using vibe coding and using AI to do it without really questioning or understanding things, is you hit a ceiling. So it's really good up to a certain point, and then you get to a point where it struggles and you struggle to make changes because the way it codes, at least at the moment, seems to be to get something working without necessarily having the context or experience of a bigger code base. And what so one more point on that, which I'm a big fan of, is, and this is where I think is where AI struggles, is the hardest thing about development or coding is not building a feature, right? That's actually not that difficult. And AI is very good at that. The hardest thing is building a feature or building or writing code that is resilient to change. And that I think is where AI struggles and human experience matters.
Is that also because, like, coming back to your blog post that you wrote, and it's called AI-led or human-led coding, we have to choose. Is that the reason why we have to choose to balance it out, to balance out the harmful or more harmful possibilities that AI can cause?
Yes, I think so. I think mainly that blog post is trying to make people aware of there's two options. One is to go down a route where you allow AI to drive and you're a passenger and you end up more just kind of like reviewing code and the negative aspects of that. And one is where you sit in the driving seat and you use AI um, as almost like a pair programmer, but you're the one in control. The need to choose bit is because the AI agenda will keep being pushed at you. There are people who are heavily invested, and it's worth a lot of money to them. And so I in the blog post, I compare it to kind of social media, where social media is constantly made to be addictive by the social media companies. And the reason they do that is because screen time equals revenue on a very simplistic level. So they want you on their application more than any other application. And they're not concerned with your well-being or uh, your addictiveness to their platform. Therefore, we as humans, at some point, we have to make a decision. We have to set up boundaries and say, this is where social media is useful for me, and this is where it's harmful for me. At the moment with AI, it's almost like people are just shoveling up and grabbing everything that comes out, or the latest thing about Cursor that it could do this, or the latest model that it does all these things, and we're just bringing it in and bringing it in. And yes, what can I do and how can I make money? And we're not taking time to think about where is it useful and where is it harmful and make decisions ourselves about where we're going to create boundaries or draw the line between what we use or how we use it.
Yeah, I feel that we don't question it at all. It's just like something new, so we have to use it. We have to try it. So it's not that we think about a problem we want to solve, but we kind of try to find problems that we then can solve with AI instead of the other way around. So would that be
Yeah,
an example? Yeah.
yeah, no, it's a really good example. I feel like this is the human condition. We're so impulsive and we just want to do things faster and quicker. And that's not always better. It's a frustration on my part, and I suffer from this human condition as well because I've got this is another theory that goes through my head. I've got a question for you. I don't know if I've said this to you kind of outside of this, but um, if you think about often the things that you love the most, or you enjoy the most, or have been the most beneficial for you,
Okay.
what does anything come to mind of what those things are
Yes, I
in
absolutely
your
love
world?
longboarding, for example, like
Okay,
skateboarding, sketching, like drawing with pen and paper mostly, cooking, my dogs. Yeah,
okay.
everything is quite
Th-
away from technology.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. That's good. That's good for you. So so the things that you love and you enjoy, I'm interested, did you love and enjoy them when you started them? And even if you did, has that love increased or decreased?
I think that's difficult. I don't know. I tend to become excited about many things very quickly, and then I get bored very quickly again.
Mm.
So, but I do like longboarding and like skateboarding in general, for quite some time now. But I would say there are phases. Sometimes I enjoy it more, sometimes not.
That's interesting. So okay, so where I'm going with this, and again, like it's an opinion and not necessarily true, is I found the things that I enjoy the most or get the most out of are the things I put the most effort into. There's often a correlation between investment and then outcome, is
Yes.
sometimes how I feel. And what's been happening in society for so long is we try and make everything easier and quicker. Everything. So, but I mean, think about your washing machine. What you used to have to do
No, I
to
don't
go
want to
to
think
wash
about
your
it.
clothes. Don't think about it. Everything has been we've got this thing in society that speed is better.
I agree. Yeah.
Okay.
I have to say, I do the complete opposite. I try to slow down as much as possible because I believe I can function better. Let's take, for example, the example of longboarding. I break down new tricks into smaller steps and then I repeat them until I can do the full trick. And in the end, like 180 or whatever. I would not be better if I would try to do the full trick at once. But you might think so. Just like, yeah, you don't take the time to break it down into smaller steps. And then
Mm.
maybe you are lucky and you make it at the first time you try it out, but you don't know why it worked. And I think that is the case with using AI in coding. You might have a solution quite fast, but you actually don't know how you came to the solution.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's where I think we're kind of falling into this trap again, where speed is better,
Yeah.
and so whether you're talking about social media or whether you're talking about every kind of gadget that exists in our home to make everything faster and faster and faster, we're doing that again with AI, just applying it to so many areas. We're saying speed is better. Let's do this faster. And actually, for many reasons, that's sometimes not the best thing for us to do it. Like you just said there, well, there's a knowledge gap there. And without that knowledge, without that foundation, you can end up making bad decisions. I don't think we'll see the outcome of this until 5 years down the line, where you see code bases which are untouchable because they've all been written with AI and they're a convoluted mess.
Then you
Yeah.
can't go ahead. Like you see, for example, on GitHub that who wrote that code, right? And then you could, if it's someone of your colleagues, for example, you can ask, do you remember why did you implement it like this, right? And well, you can't. You don't because there was no human who implemented it, maybe at all. So then you can ask AI, why did you implement it like this? And it's, yeah, the
Yeah.
bigger picture is
So,
just missing.
yeah, 100%. So it's interesting. Like I wonder if we will see like kind of 5 years down the line where you can look at a code base and you'll be able to see, yep, that's AI and that's human. And the AI code base needs a rewrite very quickly, but the human code base can keep going because you're still able to make changes and reason about what it's done. Probably we come with certain biases because we come with certain underlying worries that AI could take our jobs or replace what we do. So therefore it's easy to be or comforting to be negative about it. Which I agree with, but I still feel that a priority towards the software that we build and our clients is quality software. And so this is more so let's say AI does can build the same quality software
Okay.
and people can use it, then I don't have a problem with it. And if it means we don't have a job, so we don't have a job, what can we do? Like my opinion isn't going to change whether I've got a job or not. But as it currently stands, where I care about the quality of software, my opinion is that it will lead you to bigger problems than it will having a human developer. The great point, and this is where you can take full advantage, I believe, is when you have human led development. So now you have a human who is developing using their experience, um, their understanding of object oriented design or the wider technological ecosystem or client requests or real life products. If you take them and you enhance them with AI, so they're using models to help them understand things or code with certain syntax they're not familiar with, then I think you've got the best of both worlds. I think you've got that human oversight and development, and you've got the AI input as well. You just have to make sure that it's always human led because it's very easy. I do this myself. I literally have done this myself more yesterday. I'm using Docker on a client project, and it's running with a Linux ARM64 architecture. And there's a certain binary that will not work on ARM64. It will need an x86 architecture to work. Now, I don't even understand what a lot of that means, but I've got a basic understanding. However, like, it was just an annoying problem. So I told the AI to do it. I set up my Copilot AI to look at my Docker file, say, look, here's my Docker file. It's running on ARM. I need it to run on x86 because I need it to run this file, this binary, this program on it. And I kept going at it for like an hour with the AI. Try this, doesn't work. Try this, doesn't work. Try this, doesn't work. And what I did is I got myself to a cycle of I'm just one more prompt away. It's like on a fruit machine. You ever try one of those fruit machines? Yeah?
Yes.
So it's just pull that lever one more time. Yeah?
Yeah.
And you're always one spin away. The reason you keep pulling the lever is because you could be one spin away from getting it right, but it's complete it's based on predictions or statistics, right? If you pull that lever enough times, statistically you should come out with the right answer. So I find myself in this AI fruit lever machine where I keep pulling it because statistically maybe I can get there. And by the end of an hour or 2 hours even, I'm in a complete mess because it's changed so many things. And I never stop to try and get a better understanding of the problem and understand myself really what's going on and consider a more appropriate fix. And so you can easily get sucked into AI led development, which is kind of what happened to me in that space.
What would you like in retrospective? What would you wish you would have done?
I wish I would have asked more questions from the AI up front to make sure I really understand what's going on, what I'm
Hmm.
working with, and what potential options are. And then when the AI would make a change, I think I would be in a better position to understand if that change makes sense or not.
So use it, but use it with caution. Maybe not with, yeah, yes, with caution, but also on purpose, like with purpose. Don't let AI use you. You know what I mean? It's
Yes,
just
yeah.
like, yeah, yeah.
And it's hard because like when you get sometimes you hit like frustrating issues where it's like, so for me it was a build issue. Where it's like I don't want to deal with this. I just want to code. I just want this to work, right? Which is kind of the whole reason Docker was built in the first place. And so it's very easy to get sucked in. Oh, just do this for me, and then let me carry on with my work. Firstly, it doesn't work. In my case, it didn't work. And secondly, you're going to benefit yourself in the long run by actually gaining an understanding of what's going on.
So next time you would know how to implement it, how to fix it. That's what I mean. It's just like when you just copy paste something from ChatGPT, for example, you don't know it. We can't process everything at the same time. When we just copy paste it and then it works, that's for me, that's the worst case. If you paste
Yeah,
it, if you copy paste it and it works, because you have no clue why it works, because you did not implement it yourself. You just copied it. And yeah, it won't help you in the long run. And I think that's a time where you actually have to slow down. So very often when we code, a good advice is to take a break. And I feel that AI can be harmful in that case because, oh yeah, just like gonna ask ChatGPT to write that and then do the next thing and then do the next thing, because where during time where you usually would go out, take a walk, sit in the grass, enjoy the air, where the ideas come, right? So how often is it when you close down the laptop at the end of the day and then you just like you're cooking something and then, oh yeah, that's how I solve it. And I feel like
yeah.
we will miss that. Yeah.
So I write about that in the blog post as well. The ability to kind of slow down,
Yeah.
and that's so often where we solve things or consider edge cases is when you slow down and allows the brain and the mind kind of time to process. which is
Yeah.
what the modern world doesn't let us do with anything, because
Yeah.
everything is so constant.
Yeah. Can you think of examples where AI does good?
Yes, I guess so. Like it does. Look, it helps me to understand a lot of concepts. Like I find it almost like where I would have had to search for blog posts, it almost writes the blog post for me. So if I say, tell me the difference between the ARM architecture and the x86 architecture, or whatever that is, it's very good at kind of explaining that to me. I don't know if we spoke about it. It could be like a useful tool to have someone to talk to.
As a chat partner?
Yeah, but I think that's terrible. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think you're solving the problem.
Yeah, that's again, we are trying to find problems for which we then can use AI instead of the other way around. We
Yeah.
are not trying to find solutions for a problem. We are we are having the problem called AI, and then we are trying to find more problems that we can fix with it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm so pessimistic, but like I feel like already saying, do you remember what the world was like before it? Like,
Yeah.
okay, it's that you can look back with rose tinted glasses, right? And so it's just like it's just changed. So it's made everything even more instant, and you could be even more impulsive, and you can get answers to anything and everything you want. And I don't know if that's good for humans. What I mean, here's another question. What do humans do when they have more time on their hands?
Work more. That's a thing. I do believe strongly when you give people more time um, to, for example, do their job faster, um, they wouldn't use it for something they like. Well, maybe that also, of course, that depends, but um, I wouldn't use it. And I can just speak for myself. I wouldn't use it like that. But I do
Yeah,
believe
I think
AI
you do.
has
Go.
there are good examples where it might be helpful to use AI. So I did become a developer because I really like programming. I really like having a problem, thinking about that. The whole thought process is just like so fulfilling. And AI takes it away from me because I stopped thinking of it and all the joy when you get it. It's it's just like it's a click away and it's very convincing. And then when you get the pressure from um, for example, you are working for a company that says you have to use AI because then you are faster. I couldn't live like that. I don't want to because I want enjoy my work.
Yeah, and that comes back to like I think the point of you enjoy things that you put effort in and and you
Yeah.
invest in. And we've always been investing in understanding code and putting effort into the craft, and that has brought a lot of enjoyment. There's not that much enjoyment from just telling AI to do it and it writes the code and then that's it. There's you know what I'm reminded of? I don't know if they had this in Germany, but at some point they had like do you know pharmacies, or they call chemists over there? I'm not sure what they're
Yeah.
called.
Yeah. Yeah. Apotheken
So
in Germany.
oh, perfect. That's what I meant. They used to. I don't know if this was the case, but you used to have a pharmacist who is very well educated, and they would make the medicines on site. And so you would go to the pharmacy, you say, "I need this medicine," and then they would put all kind of take the ingredients and put it together and give it to you. And then at some point, that was done actually outside the pharmacy, like in the factory or wherever that was done. And the pharmacist became someone who was just taking it off a shelf and handing it to you. And I hate this analogy, but it's almost like we used to be able to play with the raw ingredients and use the skills that we had to be able to create the things and hand them over. And now it feels like we could becoming more, just like we have all this knowledge, but we might not utilize it because we're just becoming like a modern day pharmacist where everything is pre-packed and you hand it over. And I like there's a real lack of enjoyment and engagement there, an intellectual challenge.
Yes. And now that you say pharmacist, I just went there because I needed some medication, and I just like asked, like, does this brand do they do animal testing? They
Yeah.
didn't know. But this is just like something you're selling the product. You have to know what they do. Do they use animal testing? Is there anything in that I should be aware of that I should know about if I have one or the other condition? But they couldn't tell me. And I think that's exactly the same when we build software that we ourselves don't understand.
Yeah.
It's we build it with AI, we fix bugs with AI that AI introduced because we don't know why we introduced them in the first place.
I guess in summary, it's an impossible opinion to be conclusive on, but I definitely think it's something we should be considering because right now we are in the absolute hype of it all. And we've been in this hype for like over a year, 2 years maybe, and it just is continuous hype. And the companies who invest in these models and create these models will continue to push their agenda. And the reason they will do that is because it brings them more money. So it's up to us as people who use the products to try and make decisions and say, where is this going to be helpful, useful, beneficial, and where is it going to harm me, and where is it going to be good for me? And that's hard to do, but that's the responsibility I think we have with everything in society. We have to try and make a choice and work out where it's going to be harmful and not trust the corporations unless they want to sponsor this stream. Because if they sponsor the stream, then I'll change the whole message entirely. If OpenAI come, I will seriously, I'll do it. £20, not even that much. Buy me lunch. But yeah, that's how I feel about it.
I could not agree more. That's yeah, I do agree. It's our responsibility to lead the way, which is our uh, theme for the year, to mentor, to educate. Also, new, especially when you just start to your software development journey, start to gain knowledge, not asking ChatGPT, just gain the
Yeah.
knowledge yourself, make mistakes, learn from your mistakes, and then become better. Thank you so much, Sami. Time is nearly over. It was super interesting. It was an absolute joy to have you. Anything that I missed, anything that you want to say?
No, I'm looking forward to seeing who you next have on the show and to hearing their opinions as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Sami. Thank you, everyone, for watching. We are super excited to also hear your opinions. So, do you agree with that AI does more harm than good, or do you don't agree? Um, Leave a comment in the comment section and see you next time. It was lovely having you. Bye bye.